All right, so I got another Nats off for a customer. This guy came in last week for me to turn off Nats, and he bought an ECU, I think locally from someone in the IE, and it was for a totally different car that doesn't even exist in the US. I think it's only in Japan, so he can't use that ECU. So he found a 08 HR ECU, and he bought it. He sent it here, and I'm gonna turn it off for him.
To scratching the window, number one. And number two is put a little more space in the spaces between here.
All right, I have a 2016. All right, 2016 Q50 VR30. No, I'm not tuning it. It's already tuned. I have Sergio here. I think he's taking care of his friend's car. He's bringing it. I think his friend is busy at work, so they just want to see. They just want to see how much it makes. Yeah, love. So I guess this whole time his friend over here, he had the cutout valves closed, so I think it was this one, to be honest. So somehow he has it tied to this right here, so the exhaust was actually like closed, but it wasn't closed, you know, but it was on a smaller piping, and then he had the cutout. So I told him like, hey, does this car have an exhaust leak or something? Because it sounded funny. At the time the valve was closed, and he's like, oh, it has cutout valves. And I was like, don't they need to be open? So he opened it now, and yeah, it sounds, to be honest, it sounds pretty cool. You hear the turbo more. Final numbers, I don't know, it's like 22, 23 PSI. It's actually like E90. I don't know, some weird mix or something. I don't know what they're doing. Yellow. Ah, finally, I don't have to do it. Alright guys, I have a 2018 Hellcat. Let's see what it does. Alright, so again, this is a 2018. As far as I know, it's stock. That's what it's making right there. 645 horsepower, 580 torque. This is the red key. Yeah, let's do another pull. Alright, so George over there touching the screen, so now he lowered the power, because you know how those cars have like 2 keys. So I guess he put it on the one that makes a lot less horsepower. So yeah, he's trying to go back to the 707 crank horsepower key. I guess he's gonna have that person do the pull I think they're filming something. Well, they are filming George right now. All right, so I was trying to have him do it, so I'm gonna just duck under here and have my arm out. 'Cause I don't know what's gonna happen because the other guy's in there. All right, so I guess they're still having problems. I guess it still keeps reading like a lot less horsepower than when I did it, and it's still the other key, even though that key's not in there. So it's because George touched, you know, the dash inside he touched the screen, which has all the settings, and he was messing with them. So I guess he thought I touched the settings from the car so it can be on the dyno, but I didn't. All I did was I turned off traction control. So I guess he thought he had to go into like the settings on the screen and adjust it so it could be on the dyno. So he was asking me what I did, and I told him. So he was kind of like doing stuff he didn't have to do. So I don't know if it's still stuck in the other mode, but it's only reading 500. So yeah, it's kind of funny. Like every time he touches like anything, you know, like computer wise, like I always have to go in and help him. So to me, it's kind of funny because the reason he asked me to stay late was to set up the dyno computer so he wouldn't mess up, because you know he'll use it, and then if I use it the next day, like all the settings are messed up, and I have to ask him like, what did you do? And he doesn't know. So now he refuses to touch the dyno computer, and he'll just ask me to set it up for him if he uses it. So that's the funny thing, you know. He's like, oh, I don't want to touch it. Like, no, I'm gonna mess it up. So I set up the dyno computer for him today for the Hellcat, but then he went and he touched the screen on the car, so now it won't get out of the black key. So obviously we don't work on these cars, and I guess they're not sure. So yeah, it's funny though. But you know, George is the best. You know, he's a pretty funny guy. You know, just make sure not to ask him a million questions in the DM. You asking for a price, you asking for a price. You either want it or you don't. You don't ask him a million questions and you're not gonna buy anything. That's when you're gonna get blocked. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you already know that. And it's basically the same with me. You ask me a million questions, you keep repeating yourself, well, I'm just not even gonna answer you anymore.